Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who will will. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Shamarnia here again today. And I just want to go into the lesson, the breakdown of the Valley of the Dry Bones. Because, Salaki, let me get it. And, Ezekiel 37. This chapter is a very important chapter to read and know, because it shows us as Israelites where we was in a low and dead estate, that we being us the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and how they been, and how Yahweh Shem Yahushua will raise us up out of that dead estate. And it shows us the different stages of waking up in this truth. You know, you'll have some that'll wake up partially, some that have been woken up partially, or some that have been woken up halfway, and then you'll have some that will be fully awoken up to this truth. And the ones that have been fully woken up, those are the elect according to the scriptures. So the first precept I'm gonna bring out is starting at Ezekiel 37, starting at verse 1, and it reads, "The hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones." And this is the vision goes deeper than just an actual valley of bones, because going into the geographical of the mountains and hills and so on, a valley is a low land, a low ground. So this valley that's being spoken of is America, because America is low in morals and values. You see, to the world, America shows themselves to other as having high standards, but it really doesn't have high standards by the ways of life that's being displayed. And they don't even trust and follow Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know how they like to say that this is a God-fearing nation. You know how that goes. And America doesn't do it does not do that. And you can see that again by how this place is ran. So the next precept I'm going to bring out is Psalms 23. And it reads, Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And basically, the valley of the shadow of death is this place where death is, creeping in everywhere. And also, this is one of the curses that are upon our people. This is why you have killing amongst our people, like drive-bys and shootouts or whatnot. Like, as you can see, going back to proving it, with Deuteronomy, this is the curse that follows us. Deuteronomy 65, 65, and it reads, "And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and a failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind." You see, and this is you can see, because you don't know what's going to happen every time you wake up and leave your house. You don't know what'll happen. So going back to Ezekiel 37, and it reads, "And set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones." And the bones is talking about the Israelites. You see, and it'll prove it as we continue on reading. And to read verse 2, "And it caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, they were there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And basically, the bones, it's like, meaning, Ezekiel saw the condition Jake was in, and when it was talking about to pass by, meaning that he would be in the midst of these bones, teaching them, as well as the other prophets. And another precept to bring that out is going to Psalms 106. Psalms 106 and 43. And it reads, "Many times did he deliver them, but they provoked him with their counsel, and were brought low for their iniquity." And this is why the bones were dry. Because the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, brought us so low that we will forget our heritage, because we forsook the living waters, which you can get that in Jeremiah 2. Another precept I can bring out is Proverbs. Proverbs 21 and 16. And it reads, "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead." So another example of why these bones were dry. The Israelites, they turned their backs and wanted to follow other gods. And once you leave Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you're spiritually dead. Your body is alive, but your spirit and understanding is dead. Another precept to prove this, Revelation 11. Read verse 8. Revelation 11 verse 8, and it reads, "Their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." And those dead bodies again are the Israelites. You see, they were spiritually dead. They forgot their heritage. They didn't know who they were. And that city that's being talked about is America. Because Sodom, in one aspect that aligns up with America, you have the flamboyant people, the alphabet community here, and Egypt, because the scripture says that Egypt is the house of bondage spiritually here, in America. Next precept I'm gonna bring out is Romans 4. Go to 17. And it reads, "As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations before him whom he believed, even power who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were." So basically, when it says, "who quicketh the dead," when you're quickened, that's something that means to make alive. And this is why they were dry, and why the Lord had to cause something to happen to them to be alive again. Because another precept to back this up, Ephesians 2. Ephesians 2 and 1, and it reads, He quicketh who were dead in trespasses and sin." And being in trespasses sin, the law causes you to be dry. Read it on in verse 2. "Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, and the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience." And at that point in time, the Israelites were the children of disobedience, because they were rebellious. But as we know, the actual children of disobedience would be Esau, Edom. You see, continuing reading on, "Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past, and the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. But the Most High, who is rich in mercy, and for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Hamashiach. By grace ye are saved. So this is the progression of us being in that dead estate, coming out from the dead estate and being fully revived by the way of this truth, being preached back in the the 1960s. I'm gonna jump down to verse 10. For we are His workmanship, created in Hamashiach Yahushai unto good works, which the Most High Yahweh have before ordained that we should walk in them. So again, by doing this is how we this will lead into eternal life. Going back to Ezekiel, verse 3, and it reads, And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, power thou knowest. So this shows the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because he was able to make us forget our heritage due to our disobedience. And now he is restoring us back into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You see? It's like, yeah. Verse 4. Again, he said unto me, Prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the words of the Lord. And this is the works of the prophets, to be out here prophesying upon these bones, because it is a two-part judgment. One part of this is salvation for the elect of Israel. And the second part is the destruction to the 2/3 Israelites. So when hearing this truth, we will either have the ears that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua has given us to take heed to this word, or we will not take heed, and we're not going to be healed. You see, we're going to you would remain spiritually dead if you're not a part of that elect and don't hearken to these words. Verse 5, and it reads, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And this breath is being talked about is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that Yahweh Shem Yahushai gives you to make you alive. And you can get that in Wisdom of Solomon. Another precept to bring this out, to back this up. Wisdom of Solomon 7:24, I believe. 7:24. That's lucky. There we go. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24, and it reads, For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of the Most High, Yahweh, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her. You see, and those two precepts show you what that breath was. You see. So also to add, we can go to Genesis to back this up. Genesis 2. So okay. Genesis 2:7, and it reads, And the Lord Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, a man becoming a living soul. So again, Adam was made alive because he received that breath of life, that wisdom. And because without the breath of life, you technically are considered a beast. You see, a precept I can get is Ecclesiastes. I know Ecclesiasticus. So yeah, or the Book of Sirach. Um, Ecclesiasticus 17 and verse 5. And it reads, they received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord, and in the 6th place he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th speech an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. I believe I said that right. So basically, this also shows how Adam became a living soul, and this is how the dry bones will get the breath of life in them and wake up out of that dead estate. You see, going back to Ezekiel verse 6, and I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Shai. So in this verse, sinews that meaning like ligaments, and the sinews are representations of Jake coming together for a certain cause, which that being for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Shai. But in the past, Jake came together, but they didn't have the correct understanding during that time. You see, and then in verse 6, when it says, "I will bring up flesh upon you," meaning we're going to have we would come together and put our differences away for a certain cause. So that this is what will make the tabernacle of David to come back together is this breath, knowing the whole truth. You see, next precept I want to bring out is Genesis 29. Genesis 29:13 started there, and it reads, "And it came to pass that Laban heard the tidings of Jacob's his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month." And I brought this out because basically that bones is talking is representation of kinsmanship. You see, so going back, reading verse 7, and it reads, "So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone." So, reading this, you will know that back in the 1960s, we had the movement of the Black Panthers, and then you also had the movement of the Chicano movement as well, and Jake was coming together, which is why it says there was a noise. That was Jake coming together, the Black Panthers and the Chicano movement. And then when it reads to say bone to bone, bone to his bone, meaning that the black and brown power. So during those times, you had Jake having a revolutionary movement to give certain attentions to the injustice that Jake has to go through, and it was being done it wasn't being done to like one or two people, but to all of Jake in general. You see, so like you, and this was prophecy being played out. And again, when it says bone to his bone, it started a movement of unity. You see, going to verse 8. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. So the so-called blacks and Hispanics, they were coming together, but they didn't have the breath, which is that wisdom of who they really were. They were looking for to better their situation by rising from within, but they couldn't because we were under the curses. You see, continuing on in verse 9. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophecy the Son of Man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So when it's talking about breathe upon the slain, meaning that the wisdom and knowledge had to come to us, and that started by the way of the elder Abba Bivens, and we were supposed to continue in that work. You see, another precept I want to bring out is Romans 10. And 18, and it reads, but I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, the sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. And basically, those words are the Ruach HaKodesh. It's quickening. And another precept I want to bring out is John 16, so I can put 26, 16, and 63. I think, unless I can stupid right now. Anyway, going back to Ezekiel 37, verse 11, and it reads, then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. And this is what is going to happen in Jake being in that dry bones place. You see, continuing on, verse 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O my people, I will open up your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you up in the land of Israel. And basically, this is Yahweh allowing his word and his prophets to preach this truth, and to seal the elect. And after that happens, the destruction comes. After the elect is sealed. Because another precept I want to bring out to prove this is going back to Revelation 11. Revelation 11, verse 9, and it reads, yes, and they of the people and the kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their bodies to be put in graves. So in that 3 days and a half is 350 years, you see. Continuing on. And they dwell upon the earth, and shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets torment them that dwell on the earth. Verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So, I'm breaking this down, that 3 days and a half, which was, the Southern Kingdom, they was already brought to America before or prior to 1619, and from that point on, that they had got here from 1619 to 1969, and that was when the truth started to flourish. And when it's talking about the spirit of life, that again, that was the breath, because before this, Jake was in a dry bone estate. They didn't know their heritage before this truth was being preached out. And then in verse 11, when it's mentioning the great fear, that's because these heathen nations, mainly Esau, Edom, are scared because we have woken up to who we really are. Yeah, and these other nations, they're afraid of that. Again, mainly Esau, Edom. It's going back to Ezekiel 37, verse 11, and it reads, Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, Our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. And again, this is the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua building back up the tabernacles of David. Verse 12, Therefore prophesy, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, O my people, I will open up your graves, and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And this is why prophesying is important, because prophecy is that spirit of life being taught. It's like and when you're out on the highways and byways, and somebody encounters the camp, they're going to hear these words, and after hearing the words of prophecy, it's going to take root in the mind of the elect, and it's going to deliver. You see, and then to break down this, when it says cause you to come up out of your graves, Yahweh was going to give us the knowledge, and he's breaking that veil that was over us. Verse 13, and ye shall know that I am the Lord when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it, and performed it, saith the Lord. Verse 15, the word of the Lord coming to me again. It's like it. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick, and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. So this is happening because to break down verse 16, this is happening because the two kingdoms were split. Verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And this is why you see the 12 tribes chart. That sign to bring the two sticks back into one, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua is bringing the tribes back together again. Because we know that the bulk of the tribes are in America right now. Babylon the Great. Verse 18, and it reads, and when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not shew us what thou meanest by these? And again, this is a sign. This sign, that chart, is is an opening for conversation. When somebody, again, encountering the camp crosses by, they're going to ask and inquire about that sign and ask what that means. So that's why that 12 tribes chart is important. Um, Continuing on, saying unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellow, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hands before their eyes. Verse 21, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither thou be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And again, this is going into Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is gathering the Israelites, by the word, by this truth. And to bring this out, to prove it, you can get this in Baruch. Baruch 5 and 5. And it reads, arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about toward the east, and behold, thy children gathered from the west unto the east by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the remembrance of the Most High. And again, that's how the Israelites are being gathered together by this truth, by this word. I can read a little bit more. Actually, I'm just yeah. Okay. Ezekiel 37 and 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel. One king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all the out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and I will and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I their power. So again, this is talking about that one king in verse 22. That's talking about King David, because in the kingdom it goes in rank and order. It goes Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12 tribes, the 144, and the elect. You see. So with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Rule well, peace, and salutations to the hopeful elect. I hope this lesson was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.